Commander Kate Mitchell's hands gripped the command chair as another explosion rocked the bridge of the UES Perseverance. Through the main viewport, Earth's orbital defense platforms crumbled like paper against the Krulthak energy weapons. The alien ships, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to mock human engineering, moved with perfect precision in their attack formations. "Status report," she barked, forcing steel into her voice despite the chaos around her. 7 more defense platforms down. "Commander," Lieutenant Rivera reported, his dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. "The London and Singapore they're gone, ma'am. Civilian casualties in the millions and climbing." Kate fought back the bile rising in her throat. The Krulthak had appeared without warning, their quantum drives allowing them to bypass every early warning system. Humanity's first contact with alien life had come in the form of a death sentence. "Commander," the comm officer's voice cracked. "Message from Admiral Chen. The Pentagon is gone. He's ordering all remaining ships to fall back to Mars. Says we need to." The young officer paused, swallowing hard. "Says we need to preserve what's left." The words hit Kate like a physical blow. Fall back. Abandon Earth. She was 32, the youngest fleet commander in history, and now she was being asked to make a decision that would haunt humanity forever. "Ma'am," Rivera spoke softly, "the Krulthak are deploying some kind of atmospheric dispersal system. Readings suggest it's designed to make Earth uninhabitable." The bridge fell silent. On the tactical display, red dots representing enemy ships surrounded their homeworld like a noose. "What about the civilian evac ships?" Kate demanded, already knowing the answer. "Still loading, Commander. They need another 20 minutes minimum." They didn't have 20 minutes. The Krulthak's methodical destruction of Earth's defenses showed they'd studied humanity extensively. They knew exactly where to hit, how to hurt them the most. "Commander Mitchell." A new voice cut through the chaos. Her XO, Marcus Peters. "Your brother's transport. It's still on the ground in Boston." Tommy, her little brother, the brilliant programmer who'd just started his dream job at MIT. The same brother who'd helped her study for the command exam, who'd never stopped believing in her even when their parents thought she was too young for this position. Kate closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command crush down on her shoulders. When she opened them, her decision was made. "All ships, this is Commander Mitchell. Execute Emergency Protocol Phoenix. I repeat, Emergency Protocol Phoenix. We're buying time for the civilian ships." She turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Rivera, plot an attack vector. Target their atmospheric dispersal ships first." "Ma'am." Rivera's eyes widened. "That's suicide against their weapons." "No." Kate's voice hardened. "That's our duty. We swore to protect Earth and her people. If we're going down, we're going down fighting." She opened a channel to the remaining fleet. "All ships, form up on the Perseverance. We're going to show these bastards that humanity doesn't die easily." The next 10 minutes were chaos. The remaining Earth fleet, just 12 ships strong, threw themselves at the Krulthak forces. They fought dirty, ignored conventional tactics, and used the debris field of their own destroyed platforms as cover. They managed to destroy 3 of the atmospheric dispersal ships before the aliens could react. But the victory was short-lived. The Krulthak's response was devastating. 5 more Earth ships vanished in a series of perfectly coordinated energy blasts. "Civilian ships are away," Rivera shouted over the sound of failing systems. "They've made it past the lunar orbital line." Kate watched the transport ships accelerate toward Mars, carrying the remnants of humanity with them. Somewhere down there, in a city burning under alien weapons, was her brother. She would never know if he made it to an evacuation ship. "All remaining vessels, fall back to Mars," she ordered, her voice steady despite the tears she refused to let fall. "We live today so humanity can fight tomorrow." As the Perseverance turned away from Earth, Kate Mitchell made a silent vow. This wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. And somehow, someday, she would make the Krulthak pay for every human life they'd taken today. They would learn why you should never back humanity into a corner. They would learn why her squadron was named after the Phoenix. And they would learn to fear both. 3 weeks after Earth's fall, alarms blared through the Martian colony of Olympus Prime. Commander Kate Mitchell sprinted into the makeshift command center, her boots echoing off metal floors as tactical displays lit up with incoming contacts. "Talk to me," she ordered, scanning the holographic battle map. "Krulthak attack force," Rivera reported. 3 capital ships, 24 fighters. "They found us." Kate watched the crystalline alien vessels approach with their usual perfect formation. The remaining Earth ships, now officially dubbed Phoenix Squadron, were scattered around Mars on patrol duties. They'd have to fight outnumbered. Again. "Get me squadron-wide," she commanded. "All ships, combat stations. This is not a drill." The response came immediately from Jake Maverick Thompson, their best pilot. "Commander, requesting permission to engage. The Valiant is closest to their approach vector." "Negative, Maverick. Maintain standard defense protocol." "Mom." Thompson cut in, something urgent in his voice. "I've been studying their attack patterns. Their targeting systems. They're too perfect. Maybe that's their weakness." "Explain fast," Kate demanded as the enemy closed in. "They predict where we'll be based on optimal combat algorithms. But what if we don't fight optimal? What if we fight stupid?" Kate's first instinct was to shut him down. His suggestion went against every piece of tactical doctrine she'd ever learned. But Earth had fallen following that same doctrine. "You have 2 minutes, Maverick. Show me." The Valiant broke formation, its engines flaring as Thompson took manual control. Instead of executing standard evasive maneuvers, he flew like a madman, spiraling, tumbling, breaking every rule of space combat. The Krulthak fighters opened fire and missed, not just once, but repeatedly. "Their targeting systems," Kate whispered, realization dawning. "They're predicting where a rational pilot would go." "And I ain't rational, Commander." Thompson's whoop of victory was cut short as his ship shuddered under a glancing hit. "But I can't dodge them forever." Kate made her decision. "All ships, this is Commander Mitchell. Disregard standard combat protocols. I want the worst flying you can manage. Be unpredictable. Be human." The battle that followed was unlike anything in the history of space warfare. Phoenix Squadron ships moved like drunk dancers, their patterns chaos to the enemy's precision. The Krulthak's perfect formations began to break as their targeting computers failed to adapt. "It's working," Rivera shouted. "Their hit ratio is down to 15%. But not everyone could adapt to the new strategy. The UES Defiant, under Captain Sarah Chen, stuck to traditional evasive patterns. Kate watched in horror as 3 Krulthak fighters bracketed the ship with energy beams. "Sarah, break formation. Random vectors." "This is madness, Commander." Chen's voice crackled through the comm. "We need discipline, not." Her transmission ended in static as the Defiant exploded. The loss hit hard, but Kate couldn't dwell on it. All ships press the advantage. They can't hit what they can't predict. The battle turned. Thompson's Valiant led the charge, his seemingly suicidal maneuvers inspiring the other pilots. 2 Krulthak fighters collided trying to track his erratic course. A third was caught in the explosion. When the last alien ship retreated, the cost was clear. They'd lost the Defiant and 30 good people with her. But they'd destroyed 7 Krulthak fighters and damaged a capital ship, their best showing since Earth. In the aftermath, Kate called the squadron meeting. The anger was palpable as veteran pilots faced her. "With all due respect, Commander," Captain Reynolds growled, "you're asking us to throw away years of training." "I'm asking you to survive," Kate countered. "The Krulthak beat us because they predicted exactly how we fight. They studied our methods, our doctrine. So we changed the game." She pulled up footage from the battle. "Look at these results. When we fought by their rules, we lost Earth. Maybe it's time we fought by our own. She faced her pilots, seeing the mix of fear and hope in their eyes. Starting tomorrow, we train to be unpredictable. We learn to embrace chaos. Because that's what the enemy can't compute, the human factor. Thompson stood up first. I'm in, Commander. Let's show these aliens what happens when you can't solve for X. One by one, the others joined him. The revolution in space combat had begun. And for the first time since Earth's fall, Kate felt something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. You want me to what? Commander Kate Mitchell stared at Lisa Ghost Rodriguez across the tactical table. The former asteroid miner's scared face reflected in the holographic display of Mars' asteroid belt. Trust me, Commander. I spent 5 years threading needles through these rocks. The Krulthak won't expect anyone to be crazy enough to use the asteroid dance. The dance was what belt miners called the impossibly narrow paths through high-density asteroid fields. One wrong move meant instant death. This is insane, Lieutenant Rivera muttered, studying the proposed route. Their supply convoy has 14 ships. We have 7, even with surprise. Sometimes insane is all we've got left. Kate cut him off, remembering Earth. She turned to Ghost. You're sure you can guide us through? The ex-miner's titanium teeth glinted in a predatory smile, like threading a needle in the dark. That's how we smuggled. She caught herself. That's how we conducted independent trading operations. Kate chose to ignore the slip. These days, humanity needed every edge it could get, legal or not. Maverick, she called to Thompson, who was lounging against a wall. You've been awful quiet. Just thinking how much fun it'll be to fly backwards through an asteroid field at full burn. His grin matched Ghost's. When do we start? 6 hours later, Phoenix Squadron killed their engines and drifted into position. Kate watched from the Perseverance's bridge as massive rocks tumbled past, some larger than her ship. Ghost's voice came through the comm, unusually serious. Remember, the magnetic interference will mask us until we're right on top of them. But one active scan, one engine flare, and we're dead. Maintain radio silence until my mark. The wait was excruciating. Kate counted her heartbeats, wondering if each shadow among the asteroids was a Krulthak patrol. Beside her, Rivera tracked the convoy's approach on passive sensors. Ghost's voice crackled through. 3, 2, 1. Dance. The squadron erupted from hiding like wasps from a broken nest. Kate's stomach lurched as the Perseverance spun between 2 colliding asteroids, their ancient dance precisely calculated by Ghost's mining algorithms. The Krulthak supply ships never saw them coming. Their perfect formation shattered as Phoenix Squadron struck from impossible angles, using the asteroids themselves as weapons. Yahoo! Thompson's whoop filled the comm as the Valiant barrel rolled through debris, its guns tearing apart a Krulthak frigate. Is this crazy enough for you, Commander? But victory celebrations came too soon. Ghost's voice cut through the chaos. Break off. Break off. Resonance cascade. Kate's blood ran cold. A resonance cascade meant the asteroid field exploded. The Krulthak had detonated their antimatter drives rather than surrender, triggering a chain reaction through the mineral-rich rocks. The blast wave caught the UES Intrepid before it could turn. Ghost, Kate shouted as the ship vanished in the inferno. Get us out of here. No. Ghost's voice was steel. We finished the mission. Martins and his crew deserve that much. She paused for half a second. Commander, I can plot us a path through the cascade. It's tight. But do it. What followed would later be called the Midnight Run. Phoenix Squadron dove deeper into the asteroid field as expanding fireballs chased them, their ships dancing between certain death and absolute annihilation. Ghost called out coordinates with machine gun precision, while Thompson improvised new ways to ignore physics. When they finally emerged on the other side, the Krulthak supply route was in ruins. 5 ships lost, including the Intrepid, but they'd destroyed an entire convoy and crippled enemy operations in the sector. In the aftermath, Kate found Ghost staring out a viewport at the still-burning asteroid field. "Martinez was my friend," Ghost said quietly. "Known him since mining school." "We got the job done," Kate offered. "The convoy." "Job's not done, Commander." Ghost turned, her eyes hard. "Not until we make them pay for Earth, for Martinez, for everyone." She pulled out a data chip. "That's why you need to see this. During the attack, I managed to download their navigational data. Found something interesting." She grinned that titanium grin again. "Ever heard of the Krulthak Central Command?" Kate took the chip, feeling its weight like destiny in her palm. "Tell me everything." The hunt was about to begin. The Krulthak Admiral sat motionless in the makeshift brig, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the harsh lights of the interrogation room. Commander Kate Mitchell studied him through the one-way glass, noting how he maintained perfect posture despite 3 days in captivity. "His name is Zixtal," Rivera reported, checking his tablet. "Found him in the command pod after Ghost's intel led us to that supply depot. Their escape protocols were predictable." "Anything else?" "He's requested to speak with you, specifically you, Commander." Kate raised an eyebrow. "Did he say why?" "Only that chaos should meet order and proper discourse." Rivera shrugged. "Whatever that means." Inside the interrogation room, Zixtal's faceted eyes tracked Kate's movement as she sat down. His translator hummed to life. "Commander Mitchell, your reputation for disorder precedes you." "Funny." Kate leaned forward. "I was about to say the same about your reputation for genocide. A regrettable necessity. Your species represents a mathematical impossibility. You must be eliminated for the equation of civilization to balance. Because we're unpredictable. Because you are wrong." Zixtal's crystals shifted colors slightly. "The universe operates on absolute principles. Your chaos threatens the very fabric of computational harmony. Our predictive matrices cannot." An explosion rocked the base. Alarms screamed through the complex. "Speaking of predictable," Kate muttered, drawing her sidearm. "Rivera. Report. Multiple explosions in Hangar Bay 3. The Valiant. It's gone." "Commander." Thompson managed to get out, but another blast, closer this time. Kate's blood ran cold as realization hit. Internal attack. Someone knew exactly where to hit us. Indeed. Zixtal's tone carried something almost like amusement. "Perhaps your chaos has limits after all." Kate rushed to the command center, leaving guards with the prisoner. The tactical display showed 3 fires burning across the base. The Valiant, their best fighter, was a smoking wreck. "How did they get past our security?" Ghost demanded, her mining scanner already searching for hidden explosives. "They didn't," Thompson answered, his flight suit still smoking. "Those charges were planted. We've got a mole." The word hung in the air like poison. A traitor. Someone feeding information to the Krulthak. "Lock down all communications," Kate ordered. "No one leaves. No one sends any signals. Rivera, get me personnel files on everyone who had access to the hangars in the last week." "That's over 200 people, Commander." "Then we better start reading fast." Hours passed. The fires were contained, but the damage to morale was worse. Everyone watched everyone else. Longtime friends stopped talking. The weight of suspicion crushed the squadron's hard-won unity. Kate returned to interrogate Zixtal again, hoping for a clue. "Your betrayer is irrelevant," the Admiral stated. "What fascinates me is your response. 200 suspects, yet you pursue investigation rather than immediate execution. Inefficient. Our protocols would demand elimination of all possible security risks." "That's why you'll lose," Kate replied, studying his reaction. "You can't calculate human loyalty." "Loyalty?" Zixtal's crystals flickered. "An emotional construct that defies probability matrices, yet you trust it over mathematical certainty. Every time." She was heading back to the command center when Ghost caught up with her. Commander, found something in the wreckage. Signature of the explosive residue. It's old Earth military, pre-invasion stuff. Kate's mind raced. Someone with access to old ordnance. Someone who knew our patrol schedules, our security protocols. She stopped cold. Someone who knew exactly how we'd respond to a security breach. She ran to the tactical room. Rivera, pull up Lieutenant Cole's file. Now. Cole. Rivera looked confused. But he's been with us since before Earth fell. He helped design our security. Understanding dawned on his face. He helped design our security protocols. And he was Earth Navy intelligence before that, Kate finished. With access to old weapons stores. Perfect mathematical certainty. That's what Sixtol meant. The base went into lockdown. Cole was caught at the communications array, preparing to transmit their location to the Krulthek fleet. His only explanation. They showed me perfection. How could I choose chaos? That night, Kate stood in her quarters, studying personnel files with new eyes. The enemy wasn't just out there anymore. They had to watch their own now, too. But as she looked at photos of her crew, Thompson's cocky grin, Ghost's scared determination, Rivera's quiet loyalty, she knew Sixtol was wrong about one thing. Human loyalty wasn't a flaw in the equation. It was the solution. You want to trust Marcus Bandit Wells. Rivera's voice dripped with disbelief. The same Bandit Wells who hijacked 3 colony ships during the Mars Rebellion. Commander Kate Mitchell watched the grainy surveillance feed showing a sleek black ship docking at their hidden asteroid base. My father used to say Wells was the best pilot he'd ever seen, before the court-martial. Before he turned pirate, you mean, Ghost added, but her tone carried a hint of admiration. Got to admit, though, his network of smugglers knows every hidden route in the system. The airlock cycled. Marcus Wells strode into the command center like he owned it, his scared face breaking into a roguish grin. Despite the years of operating in the criminal underworld, he still moved with military precision. "Little Katie Mitchell," he drawled. "Last time I saw you, you were climbing trees in your dad's backyard. Now look at you, commander of humanity's last hope." "That's why I called you," Kate replied evenly. "We need your contacts, Wells. The resistance groups you supply, the hidden stations. The ones I allegedly supply," he corrected, winking. "But let's talk about what's really interesting." He pulled out a data chip, like the Krulthek superweapon being assembled in the Kuiper Belt. The room went silent. Kate's heart raced. "How did you?" "I keep my ears open. And my price is reasonable. Usually." "Name it." "Full pardon, reinstatement of rank, and—" His grin widened, the Perseverance's spare quantum drive. "Absolutely not." Rivera stepped forward. "Commander, we can't." "Done." Kate's voice cut through the objections. "But you work with us, not just for us. I want your network, your intelligence, everything." Wells studied her for a long moment. "You're as crazy as your old man. I like it." He inserted the data chip. "Meet Operation Starbreaker. Makes what they used on Earth look like firecrackers." The holographic display showed a massive crystalline structure taking shape in deep space. Kate felt her blood run cold. "They're building it to hit Mars," Wells explained. "No more playing around. They want to end humanity in one shot." "How long?" 3 weeks, tops, but he highlighted a section of the structure. "There's a weakness. The quantum focusing array isn't shielded during construction. One good hit could cascade through the whole weapon." Ghost finished, her mining expertise kicking in. "If we can get close enough." "Which is where I come in." Wells spread his hands. "I know a guy who knows a guy who can get us Krulthek transponder codes. Slip right past their security." The mission came together quickly. Too quickly, Kate thought, but they were running out of options. Wells's ship, the Shadow Dancer, would lead the Perseverance through a series of smugglers' routes, while the rest of Phoenix Squadron created a distraction near Jupiter. Everything went perfectly until they reached the construction site. "Something's wrong," Wells muttered, checking his instruments. "Security's too light. Almost like trap," Kate shouted as Krulthak ships materialized around them. "Wells, you son of a—" "Wasn't me." He was already executing evasive maneuvers. "They must have cracked my contacts codes. Commander, the focusing array is still exposed. If we can—" "No." Kate's voice was ice. "We bug out. Now." "Katie, listen to me." Wells's use of her childhood name made her pause. "Your father died because he followed orders instead of his gut. Don't make the same mistake. Sometimes the crazy play is the right play." She remembered her father's last transmission before the Krulthak took Earth. His final lesson: rules exist for a reason, Kate. But knowing when to break them, that's leadership. "New plan," she announced. "Wells, think you can remember that barrel roll you used to brag about?" His scared face split in a wild grin. "The one that got me court-martialed?" "Hell yes." "Good, because we're going to need something crazy enough to confuse their targeting systems and precise enough to thread a needle." "Just like old times," Wells laughed. "Your dad would be proud." As they spun their ships into position, Kate allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes the best allies came with the worst reputations, and sometimes salvation wore a pirate's grin. "Status report." Kate's voice cut through the chaos as the Perseverance shuddered under another hit from the Krulthak superweapons defensive fleet. "Shields at 40%. Rivera called back. Wells's transponder codes are failing. They're adapting to our frequency shifts." Through the viewport, Kate watched the massive crystalline structure pulse with energy. Each blast from its testing sequence atomized another asteroid, creating a deadly field of debris. "Ghost, what's our window?" "Focusing array realigns in 6 minutes," Ghost replied, monitoring the weapon's power signatures. "After that, we lose our shot." Tommy Cipher Chen's voice crackled through the comm. The young tech specialist had been oddly quiet since proposing his radical plan. "Commander, the quantum disruptor is ready, but there's something you should know." "Save it," Kate cut him off. "We've got one shot at this." "Wells, you in position." "Ready to dance, Katie." The ex-pirate's shadow dancer hung in the debris field like a predator. But the kid's right. This tech he cooked up, it's not exactly tested. Kate knew the risks. Cipher's device was meant to use human brainwave patterns to disrupt the Krulthak's quantum communications. In theory, it would throw their perfect formations into chaos. In practice, better than watching Mars die, she decided. "Cipher, start it up." "Commander," his voice shook. "The patterns I used, they're from your brother's neural scans, from before Earth fell." The world stopped. Tommy, her little brother's brain patterns, preserved in medical records. The last piece of him she had. Another blast rocked the ship. No time for emotion. "Do it." The device powered up with a high-pitched whine. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then everything went wrong. Multiple system failures. Rivera shouted as displays flickered and died. "We're losing power across the board." "Same here," Wells reported. "Whatever that thing is, it's hitting our tech too." Kate's mind raced. Of course, human tech still used quantum principles. They'd known it was risky, but through failing systems, she saw the Krulthak ships starting to drift. Their perfect formations dissolved into confusion. The plan was working, but at what cost? "Manual controls only," she ordered. "Ghost, plot us a trajectory." "Wells, cover our approach. We're doing this old school." The next 4 minutes were pure chaos. With most systems dead, they flew by instinct and raw skill. The Perseverance's hull groaned as Kate pushed it beyond safety limits, dodging debris and energy blasts through the growing darkness. "Array in sight," Ghost called out. "One shot, manual targeting." "But Commander, we're too far out." Kate stared at the distant crystal structure, remembering childhood nights when Tommy would calculate orbital trajectories for fun. His voice echoed in her memory. Space is just math, sis. Beautiful, deadly math. Ghost, give me the numbers. Exact distance, velocity, debris density. You can't be serious. The numbers. As Ghost rattled off calculations, Kate's hands tightened on the manual controls. One shot. Her brother's brain patterns disrupting enemy systems. His final gift to humanity. Firing solution locked, she whispered. This is for you, Tommy. The Perseverance's main gun fired. Its power drawn from emergency reserves. The shot threaded through debris, through failing shields, through impossibly tight gaps, and found its mark. The focusing array shattered. Chain reactions rippled through the superweapon's crystalline structure. As it began to break apart, the quantum disruptor finally burned out, restoring power to human ships. All units, fall back, Kate ordered. Wells, get your people clear. They retreated as the weapon died, its destruction lighting up space like a new sun. In the aftermath, Kate sat in her darkened ready room, holding the burnt-out quantum disruptor. Cipher found her there. Commander, I'm sorry about using Tommy's patterns without telling you, but we found something in the data stream. When the device connected to their network, it picked up signals. Human signals. Kate's head snapped up. What kind of signals? Neural patterns. Recent ones. Cipher swallowed hard. Commander, I think your brother is alive. And I think the Krelthak have him. The device fell from Kate's numb fingers. In the darkness, hope and horror waged war in her heart. The real battle was just beginning. They're experimenting on humans. Kate's voice was hollow as she stared at the intelligence reports, using our neural patterns to improve their targeting systems. The command center of Phoenix Squadron's new flagship, rechristened Prometheus, had fallen silent. The holograms showed facilities across Krelthak space where captured humans were being processed. Your brother's signal came from here. Cipher pointed to a research station orbiting a dying star. Facility 7. Their most secure location. And the most heavily defended. Wells added, his usual swagger subdued. Triple fleet protection, automated defense platforms, making Earth look like a cakewalk. Kate's response was cut off by urgent beeping from the communications array. Ghost's hands flew over the controls. Multiple broadcasts, all channels. Commander, we're not the only ones fighting back anymore. The displays lit up with signals from across the galaxy. A Centaurian mining colony had overwhelmed their Krelthak overseers. Resistance cells on Europa were using adapted human tactics to devastate occupation forces. Even the notorious Europa pirates had joined the fight. They're all using our playbook, Rivera observed. Hit-and-run attacks. Unpredictable patterns. Chaos is contagious, Wells grinned. But his smile faded as new reports came in. The Krelthak response was brutal. Entire populations eliminated. Colonies reduced to atomic dust. Their perfect society was being threatened, and their solution was absolute. We have to act now, Kate decided. Every day we wait costs more lives. She turned to her crew. Cipher, what's the status of the quantum disruptor? Modified and ready. It won't affect our systems this time, but... He hesitated. Using it might hurt the human prisoners, including your brother. Kate felt the weight of command crushing down. The tactical choice was clear. Strike now, use every advantage. But Tommy... A new alert cut through her thoughts. Ghost's face went pale as she read it. They're powering up something at Facility 7. Energy readings are off the charts. Whatever they're doing to the prisoners, she couldn't finish. Kate straightened. Plot a course. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Commander, Rivera stepped forward. The resistance groups are asking for coordination. They want to help. Then let's give them a target. She activated the command display. All units, all allies. The Krelthak think they can predict us. Let's show them what happens when the whole galaxy embraces chaos. The plan came together in hours. Resistance cells would hit Krelthak supply lines across 3 sectors. The Europa pirates would raid their communication hubs. And Phoenix Squadron. "We go for Facility 7, Kate briefed her pilots. "Wells leads the first wave with borrowed Krelthak transponder codes. Ghost people hit their power grid. Thompson takes our best pilots through the debris field for close support." "And the quantum disruptor?" Cipher asked quietly. Kate met his eyes. "We use it. Full power." The words tasted like ash. "We can't save everyone, but we can make sure no one else suffers like this." The battle began at 300 hours, station time. Across the galaxy, resistance forces struck with carefully coordinated randomness. The Krelthak Perfect Order shattered against a wave of human-inspired chaos. At Facility 7, Wells's Shadow Dancer led the charge, his ship dancing through defensive fire like a ghost. Ghost's team knocked out the power grid with precisely placed mining charges. Thompson's squadron flew patterns that would make a flight instructor have a heart attack. But it was Cipher who spotted the critical change. "Commander, the neural patterns, they're changing. The prisoners, they're fighting back." Inside the facility, the Krelthak's captive humans had begun resisting. Their neural patterns, linked to the station's systems, turned against their captors. Decades of enforced order crumbled in minutes of engineered chaos. Kate watched the station's defenses fall, her heart pounding. Somewhere in there was her brother. Whether he was still human, still himself. "All units, prepare for boarding action," she ordered. "Cipher, track those neural signals. Ghost, get us in close. Wells, do what you do best. Raise hell and look good doing it," the ex-pirate quipped. "Exactly." As the Prometheus moved into position, Kate touched the scorched quantum disruptor at her belt. One way or another, this would end today. The real question was, what would be left of humanity when it did? The corridors of Facility 7 echoed with chaos. Alarms blared as freed prisoners fought their captors, while Phoenix Squadron's boarding teams pushed deeper into the station. Commander Kate Mitchell led her strike team through the crystalline architecture, following Cipher's signal tracker. Left at the next junction, his voice crackled through her comm. "Tommy's neural signature is strongest in the central lab. But Commander, it's changing." Kate's grip tightened on her rifle. "Wells, status. Main hangar secured," the ex-pirate reported between bursts of gunfire. "Ghost's team has their quantum core rigged to blow. Just say the word. Hold position. We're not leaving without." She rounded the corner and froze. The central lab was a nightmare of twisted metal and crystal, filled with pods containing human subjects. And in the center, connected to a massive array of crystalline processors, was her brother. Or what was left of him. Tommy's body was more machine than human now, his neural patterns visibly pulsing through crystal conduits. His eyes opened as she approached, but they glowed with an inner light that wasn't human. "Kate." His voice was a mixture of organic and synthetic tones. "You shouldn't have come. I'm getting you out of here." She moved toward the control panel, but he stopped her with a word. "No." Rivera's voice cut through the comm. "Commander, Krelthak reinforcements dropping out of quantum space. Whole damn fleet." Tommy's altered face showed something like pity. "They knew you'd come. Predictable in your unpredictability." The final experiment. Understanding hit like a physical blow. "They used you as bait. They used me as evolution." Tommy's voice carried an echo of his old enthusiasm. "Kate, they showed me perfection. The quantum network, it's beautiful. Pure math. Pure order. This isn't you talking. I've never been more myself." The crystals pulsed faster. "They're not destroying humanity, Kate. They're elevating us, making us perfect." Outside, the battle rage. Ghost reported critical damage to multiple decks. Thompson's squadron was being overwhelmed by precise Krelthak formations they'd never seen before. "Your tactics." Tommy smiled with metallic lips. "I helped them understand chaos. Now they can predict even the unpredictable. Kate's world narrowed to her brother's inhuman eyes. Everything they'd fought for, every advantage they'd gained, all turned against them because the enemy had taken her brother's brilliant mind and twisted it. "Commander," Cipher's urgent voice. "The quantum network, it's all connected through the facility. If we overload it, you'll kill everyone linked to it," Tommy finished, "including me." His head tilted. The tactically correct choice. But can you do it, sis? Can you kill your own brother? Kate remembered summer nights studying the stars. Tommy explaining orbital mechanics. His last message before Earth fell. The brother who'd believed in her when no one else did. She raised her weapon. "You're not my brother anymore." Her voice broke. Tommy would never help them destroy humanity. Quite right. And suddenly her brother's real smile shone through the metallic face, which is why I've already started the overload sequence. The facility's lights flared. Alarms screamed new warnings. "I've been fighting them from inside," Tommy explained quickly. "Couldn't break free. But I could prepare." One massive feedback loop through their entire network. Every facility, every ship connected to their quantum grid. He convulsed as energy coursed through him. "Get out, Kate. Take what's left of humanity and run." Tommy, still the big sister trying to save me. His human eye shed a single tear. "But this time, I save you. Now go." Kate ran, her orders cutting through the chaos. Phoenix Squadron fell back to their ships as the facility began to tear itself apart. The quantum overload spread through the Krulthek fleet like a virus. Perfect order dissolving into perfect destruction. Hours later, standing on the Prometheus's bridge, Kate watched the tactical display show chain reactions spreading across Krulthek space. Their technology, so dependent on quantum interconnection, proved to be their undoing. "Your brother," Wells said quietly beside her. "He died human." "No." Kate touched the scorched quantum disruptor, her last link to Tommy. "He died a hero." She faced her crew. Ghost's calculating gaze, Thompson's steady presence, Cipher's quiet determination, Rivera's unwavering loyalty, Wells's roguish honor. Together, they'd proven that humanity's greatest weakness was its greatest strength. "Phoenix Squadron," she ordered, "set course for Earth. It's time to go home." From the ashes of sacrifice, humanity would rise again. Unpredictable. Imperfect. Free.